Before we start this video, I want to give you the huge thanks for getting the channel up to 1,000 subscribers! So, to celebrate, I'm doing a Q&A for the 1,000 subscribers special. You can post your questions on the comments of this video or in the community post that I've made for the 1,000 subscribers special. More on that at the end of the video. Ladies and gentlemen, after a 2-year wait, after many delays, after the release of the multiplayer game for this franchise, Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 is finally here, and I suffered a bunch while playing it. I'm a huge fan of this series, okay? It's basically turning me into my FNAF era, but instead is now with Poppy Playtime. And I stand by it when I say that this is one of the few horror games that knows how to give me a good jump scare. Well, I don't really get to say that I'm tough while playing horror games. I do get really scared by everything, but there is something about Poppy Playtime that not only is good at horror, but really gets me into this whole world they built. And I've already experienced the introduction with Huggy Wuggy and the treat test from Mommy Longlegs. So, Chapter 3. Is it any good? Well, let's just say that I haven't stopped watching theories and curiosities about this chapter. It's that good. Let's start off by the story they're bringing into this new chapter. And don't worry, if you haven't played the other chapters and don't know anything about the story, here's a little explanation made by me. I hope you're ready. We enter a toy factory. We almost die by this guy. Then we meet a little doll called Poppy that gets kidnapped by Mommy Longlegs. We almost die again. And just as we're ready to leave, Poppy, the one we thought was an ally, actually betrays us and shifts the train tracks for us to stay here even longer. Yay! So now that you basically know everything about Poppy Playtime, we come back to Chapter 3. The whole feeling of this chapter truly feels of giving more story to the players. It's filled to the brim with tapes for you to watch that answer some questions of the past, but also opens up more for the future. There are also closed details like in Home Sweet Home with one of the toys looking at a photo of herself when she was a kid before the experiments, or the acclaimed footage of the Hour of Joy seeing that every toy went full assassin mode. So the true wonder about this story is, why weren't we there? And why are we actually here? Aside from the piles of lore this game is getting, I really got to say that the one that takes the spotlight on this chapter truly is Catnap. No joke, he takes the spotlight. He's the main antagonist on this release, right? Well, it's not only for that reason in my opinion. Yes, it's true that we all remember the chapters with the main antagonist, but I feel like Catnap falls more into more memorable characters, just like Huggy Wuggy. And okay, I like Mommy Longlegs too, you know, but it's not really that scary or that memorable when compared with these two bad boys. I feel like Catnap does an amazing job with this scary bit. You see him climbing up at the beginning of the game, staring you from a crack of a door, lurking around Home Sweet Home, doing a ritual at the toy shrine he made. This honestly made me more and more afraid of confronting him face to face like we have done it with Huggy Wuggy and Mommy Longlegs. The aura he has built to this point has been so mysterious, and it's a really rare occasion to see his full body. So all of that tension and stress adds up even more at the very end of the game with the boss fight. Yes, another thing that I really loved about this chapter is the different turn they took when facing down the main antagonist. Instead of being a chase down, we now have to survive 3 minutes of Catnap and his hallucination produced by the red gas. I honestly would have been okay by having a chase down like in the other two games, but at the same time, we know by now that he's way more different compared to Huggy Wuggy and Mommy Longlegs. So having this type of concept where you're literally stuck between a wall and literal death for 3 minutes is more fitting to Catnap. To complement all of these amazing scenarios they made with Catnap, the design of him is also just perfect for the ambience. At first I thought he would somewhat look like the one from the animated show of the Smiling Critters. By the way, I gotta say that I love this animation. Just looking at the cute little design he had, or the little toy that was made out of him, is also just so charming. But then you get to look at the real thing and also the hallucination version, and it becomes way more scary. And get this, it's not only him that carries this chapter, because okay, the design is cool and the final boss is amazing, but remember that this character is totally different compared to the other chapters, meaning that we don't really get to see him that much. How is it going to be scary if I'm only going to watch him for 11 minutes? Well, as I said, it's not only him. There are other characters that sure gave me a goosebump while exploring this chapter, one being Miss Delight. If you finish chapter 3, then you might agree with me when I say that this is one of the best parts about this game. Well, no duh, it's a whole thing on its own, but once you turn on that generator and see the lady that has been speaking to you by the microphone coming at you with a literal weapon while breathing heavily, you know you're in for a good time. Or a bad time. Miss Delight's gimmick is basically a weeping angel. What is that, you may ask? When you're not looking at her, she will start moving. When you look at her, she stops and can't do nothing until you are not looking at her again. This gimmick has been used in many horror games, and I'm honestly surprised it took this long for it to be on Poppy Playtime. But I think it's so well executed because of this scary model of Miss Delight. Bro, look at those teeth! And also Miss Delight taking another route instead of actually following you so you lose sight of her, or literally no clipping a gate to just keep following you is just so well thought out for you to get scared. And it would have honestly been cool if she was still alive in future releases. How about she lets you go or trap her in the school to see her in future chapters instead of killing her? Like, imagine more of these Miss Delights in just one room while trying to escape. The whole school bit was honestly my favorite while playing this game. Just the chills I get while hearing her breathing or hearing her walk as soon as I don't see her makes me want to get into bed and never wake up. There's also the home sweet home part where the big Huggy Wuggy appears from the TV. I have to be real with you guys, I already somewhat expected a scary part because it resembled a scene I saw from the trailer. But it's right in the middle of the home sweet home adventure. You've just witnessed Catnap for the first time and loud banging noises right beside you. So for this abomination to come alive and kill me, you best believe I got scared. Even though I saw it on the trailer. But probably my second favorite part about this game, and quite close to being to take the first place, is going to be the playhouse. Amazing job they did on here with the decoration. I feel like I'm on a lost forgotten playground at McDonald's, and these little smiling critters that appear out of nowhere add more and more to the scary factor. I honestly was so anxious to this point because this was the place we were warned to not enter. It was filled to the brim with little smiling critters, and it was pure quiet throughout this whole bit. To close this playhouse area, we get introduced to the other last survivor of the smiling critters, DogDay. But before we get to even find out more about him, more of the smiling critters come to eat him and make his body surrender to Catnap. This was the part that Catnap couldn't do, the chase down bit where you keep running from the possessed toy. Although I really like this concept, I can see it becoming repetitive. We saw it with Huggy Wuggy, we saw it with Mommy Longlegs, but to have it with DogDay, it's a good decision since he's not the main antagonist. Catnap is. That's why I think Catnap being a boss fight, it's more interesting. But you know, this whole sequence with DogDay uses the playhouse in a fantastic way. There's no more bends that you have to crawl around or old places that for some reason have furniture in them. You are running from a possessed toy where it makes sense. The playhouse. So alright, the scary bit is pretty cool. But is it just that? Is it just getting chased down by toys for no reason in particular? Well, worry no more, because it's a Poppy Playtime game, meaning that there's a bunch of weird puzzles. This is probably the part that I enjoy the most about this game. The overall weird puzzles they are offering with this chapter are a well rest from the constant stress of Catnap and the smiling critters. It works as a good way to set the mind of the player into a more calm state before heading back into the horror. That's why I believe that the school is the best part about this chapter, because while you're constantly figuring out how to get out of the school, Miss Delight is taking every chance she has to try and kill you. But but there are some that I think are way too long for their own good. One being the home sweet home area. While it's cool to see the big pig statue following you or the other cardboard cutouts, I honestly was so misplaced when finished with this bit, and comparing that time with the other areas, this one went for way too long in my opinion. Like damn, all of that to just restore the energy of the playcare? So, is this the best chapter they have made till this point? Honestly, yes. It's somehow amazing how these games never seem to fall into repetition, or well, that's just how I see it. I feel like Poppy Playtime 1 does an amazing job at giving the introduction to this factory and the story it's offering. Poppy Playtime 2 extended on the idea of more puzzles and being chased down by mommy longlegs, but the difference here is you actually are among other possessed toys like Bonzo or PJ Pugapillar. And Poppy Playtime 3 matched up the first two chapters and gave us Catnap that somewhat resembles the personality of Huggy Wuggy by stalking you in every chance Catnap has, and the little side adventures you have, just like in the school or in the playhouse that somewhat resembled the 3 tests that you needed to complete before facing mommy longlegs. They really took note of the fans' complaints about not being that scary, and sure, I can somewhat see the design of mommy longlegs not being as equally scary as Huggy Wuggy. It's a valid point, okay? So with these amazing new designs like Miss Delight or Big Huggy Wuggy or Catnap himself, let's see if the fans still have complaints about this franchise not being scary. As my final words with this game, I just want to say what a fantastic horror game they made, and it was worth the 2 years of waiting in my most sincere opinion. We really have to be thankful for all of the art that was made for this game, the playcare, Home Sweet Home, Miss Delight, and Catnap's final boss fight, and I just can't wait to see what they are cooking with the next chapter. But I swear to God, if Kissy Missy dies because of this stupid doll, I'm turning into a Poppy Playtime hater. Alright, cut the outro. We have something special to celebrate. 1,000 subscribers. First of all, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. And second of all, what? 1,000 people have liked my stuff and subscribed? What? Just the thought of it, you know, just 1,000 people liking my videos so much that they've subscribed. It's mind-blowing to me. It's so mind-blowing to me. Thank you so much for supporting me with my silly little weird videos. So as I said, to celebrate, I'm doing a Q&A. It's a dream that I had since I was a child, you know, answering questions my fans have about me. You know, it's so cool to say that, bro. So if you have any questions about me, like, hey, you know, what's your favorite color? Or what tablet do you use? Or what's your process in animation? What is your life right now? What do you do in your normal life? You can ask me here on the comments right down below, or as I've said, on the community post that I've made about the 1,000 subscribers special. Once again, thank you so much you guys for watching my videos till the very end, and I hope to see you on the next one. Adios.